Hi out there. How are you doing? You know, when you become an alkalarian, you give up some acidic foods, one of those being meat. Unless you're eating some fish or a very small portion of meat on your plate when you go to an 80-20 type of eating arrangement. But for the most part, animal flesh and animal byproducts are acidic forming in the blood. So we want to find things that we can put into the diet that are both alkalizing plus very satisfying and hearty like meat is. One of the things I'm going to show you today is kale, with a recipe called raw kale salad. Now, some of you may not be acquainted with kale so much. It may not find its way into your kitchen because you may not know what to do with it other than just take it home and steam it and put a little butter and salt on it, and you think that's the only thing you can do. And this is one of my favorite salads. You can have salads made out of lettuce and spinach and beautiful butter lettuces and romaine lettuces, red lettuces, but every once in a while switch it up and have a raw kale salad. Now, one of the things that you do, you have to pre-treat kale, is you need to wash it. And so you can see that I'm soaking this kale in salt water. And the reason I put salt in the water is because salt is a good cleaning agent, and also salt will affect any tiny little bugs, especially if you get an organic kale that's trapped into these little curls. Salt will affect the bugs, and the bugs will float out of the kale and float up to the top of the water, and you can rinse them off. So very often when you're going organic, you need to really take care to wash your vegetables very, very carefully. The kale is one of the most deep, dark, chlorophyll-rich, dark green leafy vegetables that we have, and it is very meaty. When I eat this raw kale salad, I feel like I've eaten a hamburger. It's that satisfying. Okay, so now I have my nice, dry, raw kale in bite-sized pieces into my salad bowl. Everything is dry now. That's how well those work. Okay. And the secret to tenderizing kale is we need to marinate it overnight in two things, salt and oil. So today, I'm going to be using toasted sesame oil because I love the flavor of toasted sesame oil. So what you want to do is you want to start with your oil and just liberally pour it into the kale and then mix it with your hands because you want to get every piece coated so that it's beautiful and shiny, but you don't want any water in with the oil because that will make the kale kind of soggy. So we started with the dry kale, then we're putting on our oil to make every leaf shiny. And once the kale is oiled like this, then you can put your salt in, and the oiliness on the leaves will make the salt stick to the leaf. Today, I could go ahead and use my regular real salt and start salting the salad, but I'd like to have a little garlic flair into the salad today. So I'm going to use the real salt's garlic salt and lightly brush the top of the kale leaves with the salt and then turn it and turn it, toss it, mixing all the salt and oil on every leaf. And if you follow Dr. Young's science, you know how vital salt is for our systems. There's a lot of controversy out there about what salt does in the system, whether or not it causes high blood pressure or not. But we know if we're using proper salts that those are absolutely vital for the system to stay in an alkaline environment. And so once we stop eating acidic foods, salt is no longer going to react with acidifying ingredients in our systems, and it will keep us alkaline, like the ocean. Okay, so I've got all my salt, all my oil, and the combination of the oil and salt overnight as they marinate on the leaves will soften and tenderize the kale leaf. Now, to add more flavor, I'm going to put in 1 red onion. And I hope you know the secret about working with an onion. You want to keep your onion wet, and you want to keep your knife wet, and you want to keep your hands wet. And the water, when you're working with an onion, keep this little hairy side on. If you keep everything wet, the fumes will not come up and bother you when you're working with an onion. You just have to keep it wet. It was so nice to discover that. I went to my 30-year high school reunion, And that was the tip that I picked up from one of my classmates, was how to work with an onion without having it bother you. So I could go ahead and just start slicing this beautiful red onion. It's going to give this kale salad a little pizzazz. I could go ahead and chop this by hand. I've got one of these fun little knives that will rock and roll over the onion. Make it real easy to dice this onion up. It's kind of fun. It's like a little boat. And you want to get the pieces small because red onion has a little bit of heat flavor to it. And you want to keep the pieces small so you don't lose that beautiful, deep, rich flavor of the kale. And you want to toss those in. Sprinkle them over the kale salad. Or you could simply go ahead and slice the other end off of your onion. Put it into quarters. Make sure you have your S-blade in your Cuisinart. Throw your onions in. And pulse chop your onion. That's all there is to it. Pretty quick. I do all of my slicing, dicing, mincing, any of that. I do it with the Cuisinart. Okay, so go ahead and put your onions into your salad. Ooh, I'm getting a little of the fumes. Okay, and then you want to toss those through the salad. And then, for crunch and flavor, I'm going to add the Deluxe Dehydrated Veggie Blend. I'm crying. The onions are getting to me. Okay, and then stir it up. Toss it up. Sun-dried tomatoes you could add in here. You could add some chopped bell peppers. So after we've tossed the dehydrated veggie blend, and let me tell you what's in there because it's a fabulous food storage item for you to have. There's carrots, dehydrated sun-dried tomatoes, there's parsley, onions, peas. I mean, it's just incredible what this little veggie blend can do. You can make vegetable soup with it. I grind it up in my Vitamix and sprinkle it over soups and salads. You can put it into a salad dressing. So make sure you contact the PH Miracle Center and ask about the dehydrated veggie blend. It's a great, great little item. Okay, so after I have that all in there, then I'm going to add a little interest by adding some pine nuts. And everything in the salad will soak up the oil and the salt overnight. And in the morning, you'll have a perfect